All right, everyone, I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day this morning. This is, gosh, probably our 20th or so continuing Northeast Electric seminar for educational purposes, trying to get the Rockwell information out, as well as the Encompass partners, or they call them technology partners now, and that's what we have today. We have Vic, who is going to present the ProSoft technology in water wastewater. It's how connecting remotely or locally as well as remotely to your systems. So without further ado, Vic, if you'd like to take it away, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So good morning, everyone. My name is Vic Perangelo. I'm a field specialist for ProSoft. I've been working with Brian and the guys at Northeast for the past 4 or 5 years now. And I wanted to show you guys this presentation just to give you a little feel for sort of the depth and breadth of product and applications that we deal with, especially in the water wastewater world. So I'm in a hotel room, so if my slide transitions are a little slow, I apologize. So that should have switched over. Okay. So from the ProSoft perspective, the water industry is a target industry, which means that we focus on helping you solve your application challenges in this industry, and we develop specific technologies for these applications. As a result, we know this industry faces a unique set of challenges in terms of modernizing equipment and connecting all the different pieces of your application. And it's exactly this that we're going to focus on through the next few slides. So I'm going to take you through a smart water journey, starting at the edge of your application, where you might have some antiquated technology that you may need to connect to newer technology or to better digitize your plant. Someone's got to shut that speaker off. Okay. Under that same theme, we'll then walk through how ProSoft can help you better connect dissimilar systems that may be leveraging different protocols to improve your data integrity. We'll then back out to show you how we can help connecting your automation at the network level, whether it's networking your equipment in the same plant or networking your equipment that's geographically dispersed throughout the application. This is all good stuff, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So let's see. Okay. So let's jump into this with a big picture of a freshwater application. There's a lot going on in this image, and we'll actually come back to this image and zoom in on the technology we're going to talk about throughout the next few slides. So it'll be good for us to get familiar with the general overview now. You can see, and I know you guys know this, a freshwater application starts with fresh water. You've got your canal and your reservoir on the bottom left here. Then you have some pump stations with some automation moving this water up the image to the treatment plant. The treatment plant is likely where the SCADA system lives, and it also facilitates several other functions in the process, each of which comes with its own batch of automation. You have automation in the clarifiers, you have automation through the filtration system, you have automation through the disinfection and chlorination. Just in this water plant, you have different field devices talking different protocols, some old, some new, but what they all share is that they're all critical at this part of the process. Then outside of the water treatment plant, you have your pump stations pumping water to the right in this image to the water towers and providing the fresh water to the end customer. Again, each part of this process has automation components. So you see here the bird's eye view of what we're about to walk through. And of course, this is very similar on the wastewater side, right, with all of these different islands of automation throughout the process. The application challenges are the same, and the journey through your smart water upgrades are pretty much the same. Okay, so we can start this journey by focusing on improving your connectivity through phased migration upgrades of your different sites. This is where ProSoft's portfolio of monetization gateways can be helpful. It's a good solution that can help maximize the life of existing assets and even improve what's possible from a connectivity perspective. So these types of solutions are really valuable when you're working on a project that has a requirement to modernize in phases, and this is largely budget driven. So you can see on the left side of the screen, you might be working on a project with a bunch of antiquated equipment like PLC 5s, panel view classics, stuff like that. and you want to start upgrading some of your end devices without having to touch the PLC at this time. This is where our modernization solutions can help with a simple gateway. And the same is true from the opposite perspective. Perhaps you want to start the modernization phases at the PLC level, and you want to keep the end devices and the I/O the same. We can help with that too. So legacy, remote I/O, Data Highway Plus, DF1, DH45, this stuff is everywhere, especially in water. And if you see it, and if you're looking to extend the life of those assets, and you're not looking to rip and replace everything in the system, we have some solutions that you could use. Okay, so we started this smart water journey by modernizing equipment where it was needed. A hidden theme within modernization is actually improving automation connectivity. Very good. Okay. So for example, the solutions we just looked at, it could be used to bridge older devices to newer devices, to bridge devices that were previously disconnected. We could also bridge new to new or modern to modern, and we see this everywhere. You see in the image here, right? You've got flow meters or pressure meters on HART. You could have other devices on Modbus. So this is sort of ProSoft's bread and butter, connecting to similar protocols. And similar to the reasons behind modernization, the ability to connect systems leveraging different protocols has a huge benefit in allowing you to add automation in phases, allow your engineers, or allowing you to engineer your solution with the best of the best in terms of end equipment without requiring them all to speak the same language. ProSoft has the widest breadth of automation protocol converters in the world. We've seen all the different types of reasons they've been required in these types of applications. So no matter what challenge you're looking at from a protocol conversion perspective, we're here to help. Okay, so that was easy stuff, the budget conscious stuff, the stuff that helps you get more out of what you currently have by means of increasing connectivity to extend the life of assets or to reduce downtime risk and to generally increase reliability overall. But if you think about it, all of that is largely a reactive approach to these applications. I spent a lot of time in this industry working with SCADA engineers, working with integrators, talking to engineering firms, and these guys like to be proactive. I'm sure you guys are the same way. So if we start looking at this image from a proactive perspective, we don't just start thinking of ways to enable connectivity. We want to start thinking of ways to improve connectivity, improve data integrity, improve visibility. So let's start with the idea of data integrity, and in particular with the DNP3 protocol. So there's a lot of SCADA systems that leverage the DNP3 protocol, and there's a reason why. The integrity of the data within this protocol is best in class. Data integrity within a water application is critical. You guys know that. Not just from a safety or environmental aspect, but even from a legal aspect. My understanding that the EPA sets the federal standards for water quality, and if your water application is not aligned with those standards, and if it's engineered in a way where you cannot proactively prevent issues that take you out of alignment, you're risking hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. So how does DNP3 help? So if you're considering the role of, let's say, PLC data specific to compliance for both freshwater and wastewater regulatory and operational reporting, it's first important to ensure that you have no holes in your data. DNP3 ensures this by, number one, time stamping events with a clock synced by the master at the SCADA system, and by logging the events locally in an uncompromised payload before sending that data to the master at your specified pull rate. In parallel with this, there is extreme efficiency with the prioritization of this data. There are 4 data classifications to ensure the most critical data, like alarming, gets out in real time while everything else is being timestamped and logged and only sent out at your pull rate. So this is really a great solution if you're thinking about data integrity and if we're thinking about efficiency of the overall solution. Okay, so far through this smart water journey, we went through each site to make sure everything can communicate at the particular site, specific to different protocols. And we considered the value of DNP3 protocol and leveraging that to ensure data integrity and efficiency through the whole system. Now we can start to think about system-wide connectivity and ensuring that all of the sites can communicate to the SCADA system. So this is where we can start to think about Ethernet networking, both wired and wireless. Oftentimes in water applications, there's a lot of fiber running through the plant, potentially going out to some remote sites. But with ProSoft, you do have options that do not require trenching cables. Wireless Ethernet is one of those options. So you can leverage wireless Ethernet radios to connect automation within your plant pretty efficiently. The ProSoft radios can be configured as your master or your access point, which is typically connected to the main controller. Our radios can also be configured as a repeater, which means they connect to your automation to act as a wireless bridge, kind of shown on the left-hand picture there. And they also extend or repeat the signals from the master, which enables things like a mobile worker with a third-party client like a laptop. So this is really an efficient way to connect your in-plant automation without the need to trench and run cables. It's also worth mentioning that this is secure. Sorry, it's a secure wireless connection. It's password protected, and of course there's encryption, but you also have the ability to digitally attenuate the signal so the Wi-Fi signal is only available where you want it. So think like geofencing. And you have the ability to enable secure bridging mode, which means that only ProSoft radios can connect to the network. So what about the remote sites? This is where things could get a little complicated, but it's also where we at ProSoft have worked very hard to make it easy for you. This is where we leverage ProSoft's persistent data network, powered by Belden Horizon, to connect your geographically dispersed assets. This is really the most secure, reliable, future-focused solution on the market for interconnecting multiple remote sites, no matter where they are, literally on the planet. So let's look and see what that means. So if you have any past experience designing and deploying SCADA networks, you may be familiar with some of the challenges associated with remote communication equipment. The remote sites have local PLCs or RTUs, and those sites need bidirectional communication back to the SCADA server. For some sites, a simple master to remote communication may be enough. For other sites, maybe you require peer-to-peer communication. But regardless of if you're using technologies like long-distance frequency hopping radios or cell modems, designing, installing, and deploying your network in the required topology. I can't say the word topology. It's hard. It's time-consuming. It induces risks. It makes any future scalability or upgrade more challenging than what it should be. There's a lot to consider, and people with experience with these technologies in these types of applications, they know this. But this is where ProSoft can help with its Belden Horizon. Our complete networking solution simplifies every stage of designing, deploying, and maintaining a remote data network. This solution removes any risk of network misconfiguration. It comes with an industry-leading suite of cybersecurity features to reduce vulnerabilities, and it basically provides the possibility for increased workflows for the owners and operators of these applications. The solution is what we at ProSoft called the Persistent Data Network, powered by Belden Horizon, and I want to introduce you to the components of this solution. So we're focused here on the persistent data network, or what we call PDN. You'll hear me say PDN a lot. So with PDN, you install a physical gateway at each site in the network. For the remote sites, this is typically a cellular gateway, and ProSoft provides the SIM cards, the cellular connectivity, the antennas, everything you need for this network solution. And then for the central site, typically where the SCADA lives, we would install a network bridge, which connects these remote sites to your SCADA system. Then we leverage Belden Horizon, which is the engine that powers the network. PDN on this engine creates a virtual private network and always on VPN tunnel, providing a layer 2 connection to all the sites you configured to be in the same network, just as if they were connected to a local Ethernet switch. What's really cool about the persistent data network is that after you deploy the system and everything is communicating with your SCADA, you have the additional option to securely remote in on demand into any site where there's a gateway installed to do things like remotely service other equipment or update firmware, contract an OEM or an integrator to provide some on-site services without the expense of traveling to the site. Whatever you need. This is where the potential for increased efficiencies and workflows lies with this particular feature. So the persistent data network, or PDN, with Belden Horizon is the simplest, the most secure, and the smartest industrial communication solution available. There is no software for you to install and maintain like other radio systems. There are no expensive VPN servers for you to purchase, configure, and manage like other cellular systems. We took care of all of this by building intelligence, by building security, and by building ease of use into the Belden Horizon platform. We designed Belden Horizon with a defense in-depth approach aligned with the toughest security standards in the industry. So that's IEC 62443 and NIST 800. That basically means that everything from the way the secure VPN tunnels are established, to the way your data is encrypted, to the way you or your team remote into the system for remote access, they're all aligned with these cybersecurity standards, making this the most secure industrial network available. Zero trust at every level. I don't believe anyone else can say this, and I'll explain a little bit why. So the first point to highlight here is that with Belden Horizon, you create a private tunnel to your sites. This tunnel is established with secure WebSocket protocol. In this tunnel, all the data is encrypted end to end. Your data is not monitored, it's not interpreted, it's not stored, it's not available anywhere except to your SCADA system. The encryption leverages AES 256 and SHA secure hashing algorithms to ensure that the security of your data. AES 256 is an industry leading, but it's not uncommon. What is uncommon is the additional hashing algorithms that we leverage to keep the data secure. And it's actually the same technology that makes cryptocurrency or blockchain technology so appealing from a security perspective. And we took this technology to enhance the security of our network. And then with a focus on reliability, Belden Horizon has built-in redundancy by leveraging containerized microservices across regional servers spread throughout the region to ensure that there's no single point of failure. If we think back to that remote access capability, when a remote user wants to remote into a site for service, we have extra security with SSTP and one-time dynamic tunneling passwords, which all combine to virtually remove the risk of a man-in-the-middle attack. And it's these man-in-the-middle attacks that are the largest vulnerabilities for other industrial data radios. All of these features in this architecture are active, constantly defending your system, and the combination of them is unique in the market. So this persistent data network, this PDN, is not just a radio network. It's a full networking solution that provides all the connectivity needs, all the cybersecurity needs, and ultimately all of the reliability needs of mission critical networks like water, both today and in the future. So I like coming back to the snapshot. PDN is an always connected virtual private network. It's designed to connect your remote assets to your SCADA or DCS system. The system works with any cell carrier globally. You can mix and match cell carriers in the same network to ensure that you're using the carrier with the best coverage at any given site. Beyond providing that always-on connection, we touched on the ability to remote into each site individually to remotely access the network. Belden Horizon gives you the ability to do this with a focus on cybersecurity. We take a zero trust approach and without requiring any software for you or your team to install or maintain. I have a couple of screenshots coming up here to show you what this looks like. But before I do that, I want to emphasize two features that our customers really love about the system while using it and to remote into the sites. The first feature is what's called virtual lockout tagout, or VLOTO for short. With the VLOTO, the system is completely locked down from remote access without approval from the network administrator. So if you're the network administrator and someone from your team wants to remote into a site, they request permission from you through the system, and the system sends you an email or any other administrators to approve or deny their request to remote in. This is dynamic, so you can approve the request and then go back later and then deny it, kicking the person out. But what's cool about how the system sends this request is it requires the requester to submit an amount of time they'll be in the network. And if the administrator requires it, the requester also has to list the IP addresses that they want access to. Then when you accept the request, those IP addresses are whitelisted. So the requester can only have access to those IPs within the time frame they requested, unless you kick them out early. So let's take a look at what that looks like. It's like 7 easy steps. Step 1, you buy the hardware, right? So you're either going to buy the network bridge, the wired network bridge, or the cellular gateway. Step 2, you create a Belden Horizon account. It's free. There's no charge for that. All you need to create a Belden Horizon account is an email address and access to the web, a browser. Step 3, you would create a project. Now think of a project as a customer. If you're a system integrator and you have 3 customers, then this image here shows your 3 customers. Each customer is considered a project within Belden Horizon. Then within each project or each customer, you would then add team members. Those are the people that have access or are allowed to have access to that network. The next step, you would link the gateways that you bought, the network bridge or the cellular gateway, to a specific project. You would tie them in. Then step 5, if you want to, because you don't have to, but if you want to, you would enable the VLOTO, the virtual lockout tagout feature, where you would define who the administrator is or are. There can be multiple administrators. And then step 6 is somebody, whoever it is that's trying to remote in, they would press connect. If you look at those images under number 6, each gateway in that network is shown. They would press connect to connect to that gateway. And then finally, and this could be a whole separate discussion to itself, but on the left-hand side, you sort of see a snapshot of the GUI. So you can see, you can go in there, things like add team members, remove team members, give different team members different access rights, right? Some guys might be read-only, some guys might be administrator. They can add or remove team members. It gives you lots of metrics, right, on data usage, all kinds of things. On the right, there is a detailed audit trail. And this is pretty good. So you can see anybody that went in, when they went in, who authorized them to go in, what IP addresses they looked for, and how long they were there. I have just 2 more slides. So that's it. We've made it through your smart water journey, and I hope some or all of this has been of value to you guys. You know, we're here, ProSoft is here. I messed up, sorry. We can help you connect all the different parts of your application. We can help you through the phase modernization with our portfolio of modernization gateways if you're not doing a rip and replace. We can help you by connecting those dissimilar systems with our industry-leading profile of protocol converters. That's ProSoft's bread and butter. That's what we were founded on, going back to 1988. We can help you improve the integrity and efficiency of your networks with DNP3 solutions, and we can help you simplify your network both in plant with our wireless Ethernet portfolio and across your entire application, extending out to the geographically remote sites with our PDN, the Persistent Data Network. The end result of all of this is that we help you minimize your downtime, increase your cybersecurity, and digitize your system. So that's the end of my talk. You guys have any questions? I'm based out of New York. I'm happy to come up anytime you guys want if you needed to talk about something specific. Brian knows how to find me.